welcome to the Aquagon. We are in a digital Zoom environment on the Aquagon, very similar to what you might have seen early 2020, a lot of Zoom calls. I kind of like this too. We're always traveling, doing different things, so it's good to have a lot of different things in your arsenal. As we have Dave on the ones and twos with the tech, I'd be nothing without him making things like this possible. So. I do like the digital hot tub here. Is this in Vegas?
Yeah, this is the Vegas skyline. I took it last time I was in Vegas in my penthouse from all my UFC winnings.
Your penthouse. Well, that just shows how many bets we have won. We got ourselves a pretty nice fight night headliner here with Yair Rodriguez and Max Holloway. Should be some dynamite there. But first, we got a few things we got to touch on. As always, we like to give you the picks that we think are the ones that we're going to actually bet on. We do not go up and down the whole card. There's plenty of people that do that, but I think that's just dishonorable. If I'm betting on it, I give it to you and I tell you why, and you're welcome to go with me or go with Dave or go with whatever you think. My face is very bright. The computer screen is extremely bright, and I might be able to turn that down a bit, but bear with me. So first thing is first, though. First order of business, and we're going to do a little dealer's choice after that on kind of where we go to next and what fights we want to talk about. But the last card in New York was incredible. Best one I've seen in a long time, and this is something I don't say loosely. Like, we've done a plethora of shows now. You haven't heard me say this. I've said things like, what a great fight. It was the best fight I have seen in my history of watching the UFC, hands down, and that was Chandler Gaethje.
Oh man, that was a barn burner, dude.
Unbelievable. And I was telling Dave, I was hanging out with Dave earlier that afternoon. I said, this has potential, but I shit you not. Did I not say this? This has potential to be like Stephan Bonner and Forrest Griffin.
It was kind of cool too. They started out the pay-per-view with that fight too, man. And I'm sure anyone who was watching that was calling all their friends saying, hey, you got to tune into this shit. These two guys are trying to kill each other.
That put some asses in the seats. That's
wow.
For damn sure. You start with that, and it was dynamite from start. And I love what Gaethje said after in his post-fight interview with Joe. He's like, we were in the wrong era. We should have been Roman gladiators at the Coliseum doing this shit. Like, and that was what it was. I mean, it was an incredible fight. Two of my favorite fighters. Has to be a loser. Good job, Gaethje. Good job, Chandler. Better job, Gaethje, I should say. But that was awesome.
Razor close fight,
Rose. Though. Yeah, razor close fight. You had Rose. Another great 5-rounder. Rose came out on top, showed, had to go deep in her arsenal for that one. I think there was some adjustments made there, but Rose made adjustments herself, and that's what the best ones do, and that's why she's still holding the belt. Then you come to Usman, another 5-round burner. And I mean, again, Usman, he got rattled a couple of times. You haven't seen that in a while. He had met his match, but he, again, good job, but better job by Usman. Covington put the work in. I do think he did score a takedown there. I know there was some discrepancy with the guys in the van that it wasn't, but anybody that wrestles knows that that's a takedown. He got him down, got his back, and had control. But, whatever the case may be, it was a great fight. I enjoyed it. Won some money. We gave you a couple of good wins. I think we did have a side bet too that you lost.
I thought we were 1-1 on the side bets. I thought you had Chandler. I had our boy Al Aquinta.
We did do Chandler after Aquinta, but that's okay. You're right. We were 1-1. But in any case, it was a great card. Now, as always, we like to talk a little bit about modern day UFC to start things out. And I think with the growth of the sport, I think and I know there's some grit that is involved in this, but there's got to be a little bit level of professionalism as far as your demeanor and how you look. I would think, especially at the top, these guys have been making some money. I'm going to give two examples, one that fought last week and one that's fighting this weekend. And, there's a lot, but we don't have time for the show. No one wants to hear that long of a rant. But my whole point is this. At what point, as the sport, it's the marquee, fastest growing sport. It's on ESPN. Are we going to get past? These guys are not cannabis growers moonlighting as UFC fighters. The UFC needs to mean something. Okay, so I'm going to bring up Marlon Vera for a second. If you watch the footage on this guy, he literally looks like he had just got done panhandling at a local Walmart threw on a leotard and went in the octagon. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's ridiculous. Like, some of these guys, they literally go in there. And I won't go down the list again, but it looks like they rolled through some rice paddies in Vietnam on a combat mission, and they roll into the UFC. It's like you're on a pay-per-view where millions of people are buying this. Like, what the fuck? Have a little, like, cut your hair a little bit, trim it up, look somewhat professional. You can look grit. Then there's Ben Rothwell. He's going to be on this card. Rothwell, whatever his name is. He's been in the UFC for a while. He's had a lot of octagon time. He's probably made a little bit of cachet. He strikes me as a guy that would like build a really nice house right in the center of a trailer park. Like, when you look at, do you not get this out of it when you look at him?
He's an interesting dude, man. Yeah, I kind of get that vibe.
And then there's sometimes like the attire that we're like, I think that they should up the professionalism just a little bit. And I know there's some dogging on like paying the fighters at the lower level, so maybe I'll give them a pass. But if you're fighting on a pay-per-view, you're not broke. Like, let's pick that demeanor up just a bit. Anyhow, I digress. That is the rant of the day. Let's get into the fights.
Oh, yeah,
Dave, I did say dealer's choice. Do you want to go to Kennedy first?
Yeah, let's open it up. These cheapskates, they like these early fights so they don't got to pay for them. And I know this isn't a pay-per-view, but,
Well, I'll let you take the
ESPN
field
Plus
here. Go
is
ahead
where
and
it's
start
at.
us off.
All right, Kennedy, you help me with that last name.
Najuko,
yeah, it always gets me. Versus Dong.
That is a tough one.
Jong. I was breaking down this fight a little bit. I got Dong Un Jong. He's got a good takedowns and good grappling. I seen him kind of put people on the mat and kept them there, kind of wear on their gas tank. But that's why I like Kennedy here. I'm feeling he keeps that power even late into the rounds. He always seems to find a way to win, too. Even if Jung was keeping him down and holding him down the first couple of rounds, maybe even into the third, I feel like he could get up and still get a KO. He's got power. He keeps it deep into the fight. And I just like him as that underdog. When I was first looking at this one, he was at plus 120, but now he's moved. Looks like some sharp money's coming in on him as well. He's at minus 105 now. What do you think about this one?
The line did cross the bridge. I did see that. I think when I got it, I actually got in late because I'm on the opposite end of you. I got Don Unjung at negative 120. Well, okay. Maybe I did get it there. Which one where did you get him at, or did you not place the bet yet?
I just placed it today at minus 105. When I was watching the tape, it was 120 though.
That's some major movement though.
Mm-hmm.
If you think about so that's crazy to me. Now here's my take. Okay, I've faded Kennedy a couple of times now, and I've lost a couple of times on it. And I might be riding in the storm on this one, Dave. I know a lot of sharp money is coming in on him, but Kennedy's fight style is ridiculous. He gets his ass whooped big time the first round at a minimum. Second round, he's maybe, depending on who he's fighting, he gets teed off on a little bit, and then people punch themselves out on his chin. I will give the durability to the kid. He's got durability, but his fundamentals suck. And his strikes absorb per his striking defense is like 42%. I have it up here on Tapology. His takedown defense, not that bad though. It's 80%. But the thing is, I think that the Crows are going to come to roost on this one. I think that he's fighting, a fighter that has a pretty good gas tank, a fighter that hits really hard, which isn't out of the ordinary for what he has faced. So I will say that, but I just think he's at what point where the shoe's going to drop here. You can't just keep absorbing punishment. He has only lost one out of his last 5. I believe it was Paul Craig. I'm not 100% sure on that. And then, which is an honorable loss. His opponent, Dong Jong, he's 3 and he's won his last 3 and has a draw. So, we got 2 pretty good.
Sam Alvey.
Yeah, Sam Alvey was one.
I'm going to get you betting on Kennedy before the end of the show.
Yeah, I Smiley Sam 2020. It was when that one. Good fight. He pinged him a couple of times, but that's not hard to do. I just don't like the fundamentals on this kid. I think there's some things that he's getting by on. He's very big for the division. I mean, he is an absolute man-child. I think he has an incredible amount of endurance. But if he fights someone that can keep up a pace, so he can't just go in, get his ass whooped, for 1 or 2 rounds. and then pray that someone gets tired, gasses out, and drops their hands, and then he lands a big bomb on him. It's a tough way for me to want to bet with you, especially now that it's crossed the bridge and going the favor. I do find this one extremely surprising. However, usually when something like this crosses the bridge, sign Vegas, there's a reason for it. Like there is like an angle there from just like a Vegas strategic standpoint. But for me, it's I can't picture myself betting on Kennedy, and I'm going to go the opposite direction. If I'm 0 for 3, a different day, I will maybe be a Kennedy fan, but I do want to see how this one plays out. So I'm going the opposite.
All right, man. Yeah, hopefully Kennedy can win your vote of confidence for the next fight. Well, the second fight of the night, we got another banger. We got Mark DeCasey versus Rafael Alves.
I like it.
They're both coming off a loss. Alves is his UFC debut after coming out of the Contender Series. He lost to a guy with a Russian name. And then we got our boy Mark DeCasey coming off a loss against that Fazeev.
Guy with a Russian name.
I don't got anyone here to help me with these names today. It's hard.
We need the Britannica.
But man, Mark DeCasey, I feel like he's got to be our first piece of our parlay we're putting together for this week. He's a really good striker. It maybe hasn't really lived up to his potential as far as how good he could be in the UFC. But Fazeev is no joke, man. That guy's an up-and-comer. But I love the striking on Mark DeCasey. And I feel like Rafael Alves is just dumb enough to keep it standing and try to, make this a kickboxing match against Mark DeCasey. And it's not going to be fun for him. I'm going to put him in the parlay at minus 190. What do you think about this one?
Yeah, fellow Englishman. I think the thing with him is he's very flashy. You're right. He's got all the athleticism in the world. Michel Pereira kind of reminds me of him as far as like their sheer athletic ability that they have.
I can
Very
see that.
gifted athletes in there. Now, the problem with the Casey is I think that he gets too flashy. And I think with some good coaching to kind of get that controlled, and I said this with Pereira as well, it was a very similar situation. If they can control the amount of flash that they throw out there and maybe aim it more, they're damn near unbeatable. And I like the angle there and the play. I think this is a good matchup for him, and I'd like to see how he goes out there because I think where he gets himself into trouble is just a little too much. And I don't want to say showboat because he's trying to hit somebody, right? Like he's not out there like Michel Pereira does a little too much showboating, but he gets himself into some trouble with the flash. Now, with that being said, what I am going to do, I'm not betting this one with money, but I am going to have him in a DraftKings because I do think that the potential for a knockout is worth the swing, worth whatever the salary is going to be to put him in your lineup for that. So that's going to be my play for this one. But I am excited to watch the fight 100%. Awesome. So we're both on the same side on this one. So that's good. Let's go. So we are going to, I'm going to have Dave. I want you to step up onto the pulpit here, and since you're usually the pontiff here of female fighting prognostics, if I can say it right, get the Britannica out for that. I want to skip right to Cynthia Calvillo versus Andrea Lee. Give me your take on this one. We'll give you the field here.
All right, so I won a lot of money betting against Cynthia Calvillo when she fought Jessica Andrade. I mean, Jessica Andrade is just a complete monster, and I knew that she wasn't going to have what it took to beat her. But Cynthia Calvillo, I mean, she has still been working with Team Alpha Male, and we are huge on Team Alpha Male. If you've watched any of our shows, they've been super hot lately. I mean, I can't even think of a loss that a Team Alpha Male combatant has had in the last few months here. And she's fighting a girl in Andrea Lee who's pretty much lost to anybody who's halfway good. So I feel like you're buying low on Cynthia Calvillo coming off a loss of one of the best women in the division, maybe number 2, I guess arguably number 3 in Jessica Andrade. And I love Cynthia Calvillo here at minus 125. I will take that all day. I'll be betting her straight. She'll be in my parlay. She might even be one of my DraftKings captains if I do a captain mode. I think she puts a whipping on Andrea Lee. What do you think?
I agree, and there's a big take here on this one. The first thing, when she fought Andrade, the problem there is it was strength against strength, and Andrade has a little bit more elixir in that strength department as far as the grappling. In this one, Now, stand up, you're going to give the edge to Lee 100%. But when you look at the stand up numbers, they're a little bit closer than what you think, especially in the strikes absorbed. 3.76 for Calvillo, 3.68, with Lee throwing about a strike more per minute. Striking accuracy 41% versus 50%. So, I don't think that Calvillo is like a slouch on the strike, but I definitely don't think that she wants to strike with that. And I think that if I know it, you know it, Team Alpha Male knows it. When she walks into that octagon, she's going to know what the path to victory is. Where the discrepancy comes in is the grappling. And when you look at Andrea Lee's last fight, when she gets taken down, she has no fucking idea what she's doing. And you think about a 3-round fight. If someone struggles when they're taken down, put on their back to get out, you only have to land 2 of them to get the win at that point, because you're going to have the octagon control. Cynthia's very active, I think, on the ground. She loves to do it. She has, and the other thing with Andrea Lee, her takedown defense is very piss poor. For 43% of the time, you're getting landed on. She only has a 50% takedown defense accuracy, which is not good. Takedown defense accuracy, I should say. The other thing too is Cynthia's, she's throwing per 15 minutes, at least one, a submission, 1.1 submissions out there. There's a big difference here, and I think that Cynthia is going to probably take her down. I would say this goes the distance if I had to guess. Not a lot of bravado on that, because it's a female fight. I don't think there's an extreme amount of power either way at 125. But I just see her riding her for three rounds and just scoring all the points. And, you talk about a DraftKings, you said that. For those of you who don't know, pro tip, grappling scores you the most points in DraftKings. So if you got good grapplers and you know that they are going to go to their grappling, that's an automatic in my DraftKings lineup all day. So I'm going to be with you on that. I haven't placed an official bet, but I am going to, by the time of the fight time, I will have something in there. Whether I stick her in a parlay last leg or something, or one of the legs of the parlay, or I just go with a straight up bet. I've been seeing a lot of success with that lately too. So we'll see what happens. But as far as the tail of the tape, 9-3 for Cynthia Calvillo. Andrea Lee coming in at she's 12-5, a little bit more octagon experience, I should say, but 5'6", 125 pounds, 69-inch reach for Andrea Lee. But again, I just see Cynthia not having a problem getting this to the ground. So all the optics as far as a stand-up game, I think, go out the window when you're there. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I mean, that looks like too. This one opened at -105 for Cynthia, and now it's moved to -125. So the money's moving it our way as well. So I really like this one.
Yeah, no, exactly. Again, signed Vegas. So we're going to be good there. So I want to kind of talk a little bit about a fight that has me interested here. And let me move it up here. Let me pull it up here on my screen. Sorry about that. Where did he go? So Colin Englund versus Sean Woodson. So let me touch on something here with this one. So I want to give you the line, because we have Colin Englund. He is coming in as a pretty big dog. I think at the time of taping, we're looking at about plus 245 versus Sean Woodson at -335. Now, you probably remember this. He's the Michigan kid. Went to Michigan State, wrestling pedigree. We saw him on the Contender Series when we first saw him. And I believe, if I'm not mistaken, he was a pretty heavy underdog there. We were still rooting for the Michigan guy, and he put on a show. Good gas tank. And where I was really impressed with him is he was no slouch on the feet. He was throwing some good kicks, mixing up his strikes, his combinations, walking his opponent down, didn't overexert himself. And when he needed a takedown, he was hitting it. Now, Sean Woodson, here's the play and probably why you're going to see the line like this. Sean Woodson does have a very big advantage. At -335, he has a huge advantage in the striking department. But much like the last fight that we just talked about, I think this is a huge, huge place where you got the wrestling grappling discrepancy. Now, Sean Woodson on paper has an 80% takedown defense, which sounds good. But there has been times that he's been taken down a lot, depending on the fighter that he's fighting. And he just looks, again, lost down there. Which sometimes that's why your takedown defense is good, because you focus on it, because if you go there, you're fucked. 3-round fight. I trust that he can get at least 2 takedowns. That's what I'm betting on. I'm getting a favorable line. You know what I mean? Because you're laying a lot of chalk on Woodson here. You know what I mean? For a very unproven fighter, in my opinion. And the last part too, I don't know that we don't have enough tape or footage or anything on him to say that he does like that he's a slouch on the feet. I think his striking is pretty good. I think he can hold his own. Where you might have a problem is if he, gets too attached to those hands, because grappling for 15 minutes is a tall order. It just is. But I did like his gas tank. So that's kind of my play here. I don't know if you have anything else you'd like to offer or side you'd like to pick, but and maybe it's my Michigander. Maybe I'm being a fanboy. Who knows? I don't know.